Good afternoon. Look at all these wonderful cooperators just loading into the space. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for being here. Appreciate it. Welcome to NCBA CLUSA's annual membership meeting. We're going to get started in just a minute, but just before we do that, I want to give you a few different housekeeping items. One is that we are running this meeting as a Zoom meeting, and so what that means for you is that you have the ability to turn your camera on and off. You also have the ability to unmute yourself, but we're going to ask that you keep yourself muted throughout the presentation. But hopefully that by seeing the other cooperators, it'll be almost as good as us being in a room together. But again, thank you so much for being here. This video is being recorded, or this meeting rather, is being recorded. And we'll make it available at the end of the meeting. It'll be posted on our website. We'll send a link out to all those who have registered for this meeting. And I want to make sure I'm covering all of my bases here. And also for all of my fellow nerds out there, may the 4th be with you. See John England smiling and laughing at that, so that's great. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. And now I'll turn it over to our board chair, Urban Crowell, to get things officially kicked off. Hey, Urban.
Hey, John. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 105th annual membership meeting of the National Cooperative Business Association, CLUSA International. It's always a pleasure to get together with our fellow cooperators, even under the now all too familiar format of the virtual gathering. In addition to the business portion of our meeting, I just want to invite you all to hang out afterward for some networking opportunities that staff have organized for us. You know, it's been a challenging year since we last met, and this is an important opportunity for us to gather and share some of our successes as well as the work ahead. And as we will share in our report, the past year saw historic challenges that highlighted how co-ops can empower people to meet their needs together, innovate solutions to shared challenges, and build more resilient communities. It also presented us with opportunities to deepen our understanding of our values, our principles, and our histories, to live up to our ideals by taking on the challenge of building more inclusive cooperatives, more just and equitable communities, and a better future for everyone. What's been inspiring for us are the intentional efforts that we've seen as co-ops and their members have worked to create and further nurture connections to serve our members and communities better and live up to our values and principles. And as members of NCBA CLUSA, your participation is vital to ensure that we continue to move forward as an association and use the cooperative business model to build a more inclusive economy that's equitable for all. Member participation continues to be a vital part of NCBA CLUSA's growth. And on behalf of the board of directors, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. So I want to welcome you all to this 105th annual meeting. We'll be sharing today's documents such as the agenda and other related information through the chat feature. So keep checking that box for updated and related documents. And we'll be referring to those throughout the meeting today, so please keep them handy. Before we formally begin our meeting, sorry about that, technical difficulties. I'd like to ask John Torres to confirm that we have quorum. John?
And looking at our attendance, Urban, yes, we have quorum.
Excellent. Thank you all again. It is therefore my pleasure to call the 2021 annual membership meeting of NCBA CLUSA to order. And our first order of business is to approve the minutes from our 2020 annual membership meeting. So please check the chat for these minutes if you don't already have a copy. And do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Please raise your hand for us to see. And Doug, let me know if we have a motion.
Okay, please raise your hand if you would like to motion. And I see a motion. Yes, Juan Fernandez makes the motion.
Thank you, Juan. Do we have a second?
Deb Troca seconds.
Excellent, thank you. So now we'll just take a minute to go through the voting process. A poll has been opened. I think you can all see it on the screen. So all in favor, please reply yes. And those opposed, state no. And John, just let me know when the vote's complete.
Okay, we'll give it about 30 seconds here for everyone to get their vote in. All right, we're going to close the poll. And Urban, we have a 97% yes.
Excellent. All right, thank you. The yeses have it. The 2020 annual membership minutes are approved. And the next item on our agenda is the treasurer's report, including the audit report. And I'd like to invite Devin Furman, the chair of the Finance and Audit Committee, to join us to present the report. Devin, are you with us?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Great, thank you.
Good afternoon, and I'd like to call your attention to the financial supplement of the 2020 annual report, which should be linked in the chat as well. I'll start off by talking about our revenues, and we measure revenue at NCBA CLUSA in two ways: membership services and awards from grants and contracts. For 2020, NCBA membership dues revenue was $680,188. Results were less than the 2019 membership revenue of $725,495, a 7% reduction in membership dues. Projections for 2021 are currently yielding successful results, with a collection to date of $679,113. We hope and need to continue to grow membership revenue in 2021. In the grants and contracts program area, revenue decreased to $36.7 million in 2020 from $42.3 million in 2019. This was due to low win rate and programs awards completing during the duration of service in 2019. We continue to experience consistent performance in our grant and contract funding and continue to pursue the new business opportunities. We expect this performance to continue in 2021 as well. Another way to evaluate NCBA CLUSA's financial performance is in net income and net assets. Here, NCBA CLUSA consolidates three key inputs: net income from operations, equity in the net profits of Cooperative Business International, where NCBA CLUSA has a 10.23% ownership stake, and third, equity in the net profits of Dot Cooperation LLC, where NCBA CLUSA has a 50% ownership stake. In 2020, NCBA CLUSA's net income was $317,577 from all sources. Net income in 2020 includes operating income of $248,242 and investment income of $69,335. NCBA CLUSA's net assets without donor restrictions in 2020 was $5.5 million at year end from $4.7 million at year end in 2019. A $778,815 increase after consolidating NCBA CLUSA's equity shares and other adjustments. NCBA CLUSA has effectively managed its liquidity and cash positions in support of business operations. The bank line of credit balance is zero, and $2.5 million remains available if needed to support program activities to avoid disruption of services until funds are received by donors. In the event utilized, NCBA CLUSA's line of credit is collateralized with donor receivables and 100% recoverable and has limited risk to NCBA CLUSA. As I've outlined, NCBA CLUSA's financial statements continue to reflect stable results, demonstrating continued positive performance and performance overall. As chairman of the Finance and Audit Committee, it's my responsibility to report to the members the results of the independent audit of NCBA CLUSA's financial reports. Let me start with some background of the firm engaged to perform the audit. An independent audit firm engaged to provide audit services is Markham LLP and conducted NCBA CLUSA's prior year audit in 2019. And Markham is a national firm with a focus on providing auditing and accounting services to the nonprofit industry. In addition, they specialize in working with recipients of government funding. Markham performed the audit on NCBA's consolidated financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles as well as audit of federal awards in accordance with the government auditing standards, which is required for NCBA CLUSA as a recipient of awards that come from the federal government. The fiscal year end 2020 audit has concluded, and the final audit report will be issued mid-May prior to the filing of the IRS 990 exempt organization tax return filing. The Finance and Audit Committee met with the auditors today and do not anticipate any material changes to the results of the 2020 fiscal year audit report. There were no reported disagreements with management, and NCBA received a clean, unmodified opinion on NCBA's 2020 financial statements and a clean, unmodified opinion on the federal awards audit. As a result, NCBA will remain a low-risk auditee for 2021. The Finance and Audit Committee reviewed the audited 2020 year-end results today with auditors, and we're extremely pleased with the positive year-end results and the progress NCBA CLUSA has made in strengthening its internal controls over financial reporting and ensuring the integrity of the association through the COVID-19 pandemic. The final audit report will be distributed at the Board of Directors meeting in June, and a special thank you will go out to all of the staff and their commitment to continuing to be good stewards of the association's assets. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Devin. And now we'd like to just allow a few minutes for any questions. If you have a question regarding the Treasurer's report or the audit, please type them into the chat. And Doug, if you could monitor that, that'd be great.
Thank you very much. Yes, please, if you do have any questions, please type them into the chat, and I will monitor. We actually have a system where staff will queue those up for me on a spreadsheet here for Devin. We also have Val Roach, our CFO, is also available for as a resource, as always. And we'll just wait just a few more seconds in case anyone does have a question. And seeing none, I believe, except from Ann Hoyt. Good to see your name, Ann. Good to see you. A nice comment. No questions, Mr. Chair.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Devin, for the report. Thank Val Roach for all the hard work in the finance department and for our director serving on finance and audit. Thank you very much. So we've reached the point in our agenda for the chair's address, and we're going to do this a little bit differently this year as we think it's important to take the opportunity for you to hear from more of our leadership on our shared work over the past year. So what we did was put together a recorded address just a few days ago to share as part of our digital annual report for 2020. A link to that report will be placed in the chat. And now we'd like to share the 2021 leadership address. And with that, John, if you could share our video. Thank you and welcome. There's never been a more important time for our community to come together to understand, engage, and act on our shared cooperative identity, the values, principles, and way of doing business that set cooperative enterprise apart. This past year saw historic challenges that highlighted how co-ops can empower people to meet their needs together, innovating solutions to shared challenges, building more resilient communities, and rooting vital infrastructure at the local level. They also presented us with opportunities to deepen our understanding of our values, our principles, and our histories, to live up to our ideals by taking on the challenge of building more inclusive cooperatives, more just and equitable communities, and a better future for everyone. Co-ops demonstrated their difference last year, as we always have, by combining social purpose with a proven successful business model that puts people at its heart rather than capital. But we also succeeded by challenging ourselves to make our shared values of solidarity, equity, and equality more visible, real, and impactful. And by working together, we were able to support one another, ensuring that more co-ops survived and even grew over the past year. As you know, the cooperative identity is a living thing, the result of a continuing dialogue among co-ops and cooperators around the world, as we work to ensure that our movement is responsive to the economic and social challenges of our day, as well as our opportunities to grow, innovate, and empower more people in their daily lives. The current statement was approved by the International Cooperative Alliance, or ICA, in 1995, building on previous revisions of cooperative principles that sought to ensure that co-ops stayed true to their core values while addressing the needs of their time. So it's fitting at this moment that the ICA has chosen the theme of deepening our cooperative identity for the World Cooperative Congress coming up in December. The gathering will be an opportunity to understand how co-ops have responded to the pandemic and calls for racial and economic justice, how we can take on global challenges like climate change, sustainable development, peace and equality, and how we can work together to create a better, more fair and inclusive world for the future. As we look back on 2020, we want to share how the cooperative community has responded to historic events of the past year and how NCBA CLUSA will continue to serve the cooperative community in 2021 and beyond. First, we'll hear from Doug O'Brien, our President and CEO, and Val Roach, our Executive Vice President and CFO, who will share the impact of NCBA CLUSA's work on behalf of the cooperative community and millions of people around the world. Then I'll join Carla Decker, our first Vice Chair, to offer some thoughts from the board perspective. Doug?
Thank you, Urban. This past year has presented an opportunity for cooperatives to deepen their identity in very concrete ways. I'd like to touch on two of the most significant: how the cooperative business model helped people weather the public health and economic impacts of COVID-19, and how the co-op identity informed the critical conversation on systemic racism. On COVID, we were able to bring together the cooperative community to advocate for eligibility in critical relief programs, such as the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program and the Paycheck Protection Program. We know that at least 3,000 cooperatives access these programs, providing direct financial assistance of at least $1.2 billion to maintain operations and support workers on their payroll and in their communities. Also on the advocacy front, we were able to be active with the cooperative community in the context of new relief and infrastructure legislation to ensure that policymakers understand that co-ops should be a preferred strategy to rebuild a more equitable and resilient economy. Ahead of the new Congress and administration, we released a major policy paper last October that focused on how people can use cooperatives to build more inclusive local economies. We urge you to look at that paper, once again, linked in the chat, and use it in your own local, state, and federal advocacy. We also took the opportunity to lift up how co-ops navigated this challenging time in service to their members and communities with webinars, dedicated websites, and a significantly increased social media presence. And as we heard from our international colleagues last year, we were able to leverage the cooperative business model to help families and businesses in the countries where we work to respond to the challenges related to COVID. And we'll hear again from our colleagues a bit later how this moment has propelled innovative cooperative solutions for people in developing regions. This last year also brought into focus the national scourge of systemic racism. These events provided cooperatives the opportunity to explain how co-ops are naturally a strategy to empower and include everyone in their businesses. The year also made clear how the cooperative community must take a clear-eyed look at how we can be better champions and allies of BIPOC and other marginalized groups. With record virtual attendance of over 1,000 people, the Co-op Impact Conference last October featured an amazing array of leaders, experts, and practitioners around the themes of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And because the content was produced virtually, we were able to capture it so that the cooperative community could experience the rich conversations throughout the year. We are excited to continue to deepen this work around DEI, which our chair will talk about in a moment. Our international work continues to grow with 20 active projects in 17 countries. NCBA CLUSA's programs directly reached over 1 million people, and an estimated 5 million people benefited from our ongoing programmatic work in 2020 alone. Providing support and services in the areas of economic growth and community-led development, we work with over 350,000 women and engaged 347,000 youth in communities around the world. Just last month, we concluded one of our largest projects in NCBA CLUSA history. The 7-year, $76 million resilience program, successfully implemented by our team in Nigeria and Burkina Faso, has provided an elevated platform for NCBA CLUSA and positioned us as thought leaders, offering multiple learning sessions on successful outcomes. Over the past year, NCBA CLUSA leaned into enhanced member support, offering technical and planning services for our members' virtual meetings and events. We were proud to provide technical and logistical support for virtual cooperative events such as CCMA and the National Farmers Cooperative Conference, along with numerous webinars and virtual meetings. You can find all of these exciting developments and more in the various sections of the 2020 annual report, which you'll find on our website. And now, to share a bit more about how your association stood up in the past year, I'd like to introduce our Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, Val Roach. Val?
Thank you, Doug. As you can tell, we here at NCBA CLUSA take our co-op identity seriously. One of the ways we live out our cooperative shared values of equity, equality, and solidarity is by building a more inclusive workplace through a commitment to transparency, our ethical values, and basic fairness. Acting on an assessment and recommendations from an outside third party in 2019, we have devoted significant time and resources to improving diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, within NCBA CLUSA, and created a DEI internal committee to reinforce the cooperative principles and break certain barriers to maximize the full potential of the staff of the association. We set strategic priorities focused on the pillars of people, systems, and culture. We focus first on improving our organizational culture and awareness and building skills. Second, we are creating career path opportunities within our association for staff. Finally, we are strengthening our hiring and recruitment practices to better reflect the diversity of our membership and the communities we serve. As leaders, we are accountable to lead by example and find solutions. And as such, we have prioritized DEI as a key performance indicator. And just a note on the important work of risk management in your association, we continue to focus on people at the center of our work by helping to manage risk in the context of COVID-19. This means providing informational guidance to promote sustainability of co-ops and the safety of our employees. Our top 3 priorities are safety and security, disaster recovery, and cybersecurity. We have prioritized human capital and social concerns to obtain a path of resilience for the future. And now, I would like to hand it back to NCBA's Board Chair, Urban Crow.
Thank you, Val. As you and Doug pointed out, co-ops have done vital work on behalf of their members and communities over the past year. And looking forward, we recognize this work is only beginning. As we've tried to understand how we can best serve our members at this moment, we asked you for your feedback in a survey earlier this year. Respondents confirmed that advocacy and public awareness continue to be very important, and 80% want to work together to deepen the work of our co-ops in diversity, equity, and inclusion. In terms of education on the cooperative difference, 80% said that they had at least some internal or external programming that lifts up our shared identity, offering us an opportunity to continue to raise awareness of cooperative enterprise. As Doug shared, advocacy is central to our work, and we've been engaging Congress and the administration on how to ensure that cooperatives are a significant part of new policy designed to help us build back from the pandemic and do so in ways that are more equitable, resilient, and sustainable. We've hosted senior administration officials, responded to requests for information on cooperative business, and shared policy papers focused on how co-ops build more resilient food systems, empower workers through home healthcare co-ops, enable small business owners to convert their enterprises to the co-op model, and create a more inclusive energy economy. In this next year, NCBA CLUSA will continue to work with the Cooperative Development Foundation to deepen and accelerate diversity, equity, and inclusion work throughout our cooperative sectors and industries. In a project supported by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, we've surveyed members on the work that they're doing in this area and are creating a cross-sector peer learning group, a series of articles on the topic, and an in-person convening in the next 18 months that will culminate in widely shared best practices and recommendations on how we can live up to our values and principles at this critical time. Over the past few years, our board of directors has been focused on our vision for the role of co-ops in building a more inclusive economy and refining our mission of developing, advancing, and protecting cooperative enterprise. So we'd like to share some of our work in 2020 on membership development and our enduring partnership with the International Cooperative Alliance. To do that, I'd like to introduce Carla Decker, our first vice chair of the NCBA CLUSA Board of Directors. Carla?
Thank you, Urban. It was an extraordinary year. While we all share the challenges of virtual-only meetings, NCBA CLUSA was able to complete some very significant reforms of our membership policy. As we will discuss a bit later, the need for this reform is clear. We are in the middle of a time when we must increase the impact and influence of cooperatives. The only way to do this is to broaden our membership. The work did present the opportunity for us to look at just what it means to be a co-op in 2021. And we engaged Margaret Lund to talk to co-op leaders and experts, research the historic and contemporary literature, and provide some options and recommendations. The result is a fantastic paper that will be linked here and will be published in the 2021 spring-summer issue of the Cooperative Business Journal. We will talk a bit about the clarification of this co-op definition a little later in the meeting. We have also been working with the International Cooperative Alliance on improving the understanding and expression of DEI in the shared values and principles of cooperatives. Beginning at the ICA Assembly in Kigali, Rwanda in 2019, and looking toward the ICA World Congress in Seoul, Korea later this year, members of our board, along with staff leaders, are engaged in a robust conversation with cooperative leaders in the Americas and from across the globe on how to deepen our cooperative identity through diversity, equity, and inclusion. Back to you, Urban.
Thanks, Carla. We began our message earlier today talking about the importance of deepening our shared cooperative identity if we're to increase our impact. We know there's so much potential for co-ops to do more for our members and communities and people that we have not yet reached. Our time-tested business model has empowered hundreds of millions of people here in the US and across the globe. But there's so much more cooperatives can do to help our communities recover and build a more resilient, sustainable, and inclusive economy. And the only way we'll capture this opportunity to empower more people, to offer hope, and to rebuild better is if we work together. So I'd like to close with a focus on one of the shared principles that is so important to our cooperative identity, and that's the sixth principle of cooperation among cooperatives. And when I speak about the sixth principle, I'm talking specifically about cooperatives coming together in associations, local, regional, national, and cross-sector associations like NCBA CLUSA to share resources and innovation, to work together to advocate for our movement, and to empower more people through cooperation. And I want to end with a thank you to our members and with a challenge. So thank you for stepping forward, being part of NCBA CLUSA, your national apex association for cooperative business. You make all the work we've shared today possible, and really it's our collective work. And if we're going to expand this work at this critical moment, if we're going to take advantage of this opportunity to be part of rebuilding our communities in a way that's more resilient, sustainable, and inclusive, I also want to challenge you to be an active part of growing our association. Just as you might encourage people to be members of your co-op or credit union, we need for you to take the next step and be an ambassador for NCBA CLUSA. To be concrete, pick one individual, one co-op or co-op association that's not currently a member, and you can check on the NCBA CLUSA website for a current list, and share with them the importance of our shared work on advocacy, public awareness, and economic development, and encourage them to join. You won't be alone. NCBA CLUSA membership team is ready to help you in your efforts. And as I near the end of my term as chair, I just want to take this moment to share my profound appreciation for our staff, both here and abroad, as they've worked to advance our vision at an extraordinarily difficult and important time. I also want to thank my fellow directors for their service, collaboration, and camaraderie over the past year. It's been a real honor and privilege for me to serve with you as chair. And with that, thank you for being here, and thank you for all of your contributions to our collective efforts to build a more inclusive economy that works for everyone. Thank you. Thank you, and special thanks to my colleagues for being part of that address. I hope you all appreciated that message, and will take some time to share it in your networks as we work to raise awareness of the co-op difference and continue to grow our association. Next on the agenda is the much anticipated results from the Co-op 5K. As you probably know, the 5K is a fundraising event organized by NCBA CLUSA's partner, the Cooperative Development Foundation. And both of our organizations share a vision for the role of co-ops in building a more inclusive economy. And the Co-op 5K is a great example of this spirit of cooperation and concern for community. It's a great opportunity for us to come together to raise funds, to support projects, to promote, expand, and develop co-ops, to empower more people to meet their needs and strengthen their communities. And through CDF's fundraising and legacy efforts, the organization provides recovery grants to cooperatives impacted by disaster, scholarships to train local cooperative leaders, and funding for technical assistance, research, and education to advance understanding of cooperatives. So now we'd like to share some highlights from the nearly 500 cooperators that came out to support this year's race.
Control. Neighboring cooperatives rock! Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Kirsty Boyette and I'm CDF's Fundraising and Funds Manager. I hope you enjoyed our highlight reel of cooperators from all over the US as they participated in this year's Co-op 5K. There's nothing like a good run on a spring day to lift your spirits, especially when you know that you're raising money for a good cause. Now you may wonder what CDF does with the money that we raise from the Co-op 5K and the Cooperative Hall of Fame. Well, because of our sponsors, event participants, and individual donors, we were able to give out over $1.3 million in grants that benefited 60 co-ops and co-op organizing groups in 2020. Even through an incredibly tough year, we're proud to say that not only were we able to match our grant giving from 2019, but actually we exceeded it. And that would not have been possible without your help. On behalf of our staff and our board of directors, thank you to our sponsors and our participants. We're all truly powered by our cooperative principles. And because of you, cooperation among cooperatives and concern for community shined brightly. The time has now come for us to announce our winners. So without further ado,
here are your winners!
We're moving through the night like we're from a different star, flying over streets and our broken hearts. But they can't even touch us, we found a different beat. Paradise is waiting and we bought the lead. Oh, getting caught in the mist, there's so many that never get out. They're feeding the fears and the doubts. Ooh, but we're golden, we run to the end and we run without shame. We own the game, and we run on the flames till the morning light. Baby, 'cause we're dynamite. Ain't nobody gonna hold us down. Break all the rules, let them run and hide. Baby, 'cause we're dynamite. Gonna let the world know. like dynamite, gonna let the world know.
And that brings us to the end of our program. Congratulations to all of our winners. As we start to enter a new normal, next year's Co-op 5K will be a hybrid model with an in-person event here in Washington, D.C. and a virtual component for all of our cooperators across the U.S. So save the date for April 23rd through the 30th.
Wow. I don't know what to say. First of all, I need a better soundtrack, quite obviously. Second of all, thank you to my neighboring cooperators for cleaning me up off the pavement after that valiant run that I did. Finally, thank you, Kirsty and CDF for putting on another great event for us and giving us all the opportunity to get together virtually to help grow our co-ops. It's an awesome event. I really appreciate all your work doing this. And it's always great to see a little friendly competition among our cooperators, especially in the spirit of growing the movement. So congratulations to all of our runners, walkers, rollers, and participants in the 2021 Co-op 5K. And thank you for your efforts to help us raise vital funds for CDF. So now we'd like to return to the business of our annual meeting with a highlight on governance and membership development. And for that, I'd like to hand the mic to Karen Zimbelman, our second vice chair of the NCBA CLUSA board and co-chair of our membership growth task force. KZ, are you with us?
Thank you, Urban. At last year's annual meeting, we announced that we had a membership growth task force working to consider steps to enable NCBA CLUSA to grow and diversify our membership base and related revenue, with the result of strengthening our financial stability and accountability to the cooperative sector that we serve, as well as our ability to align, represent, and advocate for the wider cooperative movement. No one around NCBA now, or even a couple years ago, had experienced any main changes to our membership structure. In other words, our work was long overdue, given that much had changed in the past 30+ years, including the growth of new sectors and new co-op networks in very dynamic ways, but our membership structure had really not. We'd added things on and had a very patchwork system. So we had our work cut out for us. The task force included 9 directors from the NCBA CLUSA board who represented a wide range of the U.S. cooperative community in terms of sectors, size, and geography. Carla Decker, who you'll hear from shortly, co-chaired the task force with me. Beyond the ways that our membership structure no longer matched well with our cooperative community, there was a much more important need for the task force, starting with our vision. You may recall that we celebrated the 100th anniversary of NCBA CLUSA's founding in 2016. And at that time, the board had engaged in a significant process to consider and realign our organizational purpose. The result was a new vision statement. We work to build a more inclusive economy through cooperatives. By leveraging the shared resources of the cooperative movement, we seek to engage, partner with, and empower people from all walks of life, particularly those left behind by a shifting economy and facing the greatest economic and societal barriers. This vision, formally adopted in 2017, feels even more relevant today as the pandemic has widened. Economic inequalities and the tragedy of systemic racism has come into focus. To achieve this vision, we needed to increase our influence and impact. And to do that, we needed broader representation across the cooperative community. This is why the board took on the task of updating membership policy and the dues structure, a task that had not been completed in well over 30 years. The new dues structure that we came up with will broaden our membership and increase resources so that we can increase our advocacy to protect and strengthen the cooperative business model, deepen public awareness on the cooperative advantage, enhance our membership services, and expand our work to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as enable more people to use cooperatives to build more inclusive economies. We've simplified our dues structure to increase transparency and fairness across the sectors, and we have adjusted our policy to focus on core members, the cooperatives themselves. In terms of the dues structure, we've moved from a really complicated set of 14 charts with 68 different schedules to 4 charts with 6 schedules that provide transparency and fairness for our cooperative, associate, and individual members. The charts are posted on the membership page of our website. All current NCBA CLUSA members have received a letter from the membership team that confirms how this new structure will apply to them, as well as a transition plan from 2022 to 2025. Please be sure to be in touch with our membership team, membership@ncba.coop. If you have any questions, need this information resent, like me, or want to discuss with them. We really value your membership, and we want to do everything we can to make this transition work for you. And then along with the new dues structure, to ensure that NCBA CLUSA membership is accessible, the board approved the following 2 policies. In terms of startup dues, we've increased the duration of the startup membership classification from 1 year to 3 years in recognition of the real world timeline for startup co-ops and the resources they have available to participate. In terms of dues reduction, co-op members are now eligible to apply to have reduced dues by sending a simple request to the membership staff, membership@ncba.coop. The Membership Growth Task Force also worked closely with the Governance Committee to recommend other important policy updates to the board. Now I'm going to hand it over to Carla Decker, the first Vice Chair of the NCBA CLUSA Board of Directors and the co-chair of this task force, and a former member of the Governance Committee, to describe those policy changes. Carla?
Thank you, Casey. Before mentioning a few of the policy updates, I do want to recognize and thank the Governance Committee and its chair, Michelle Schrei, for their work, and especially the collaboration and thoughtfulness as we approach these important questions. As we all know, governance is a life's blood of cooperatives and cooperative associations like NCBA CLUSA, as it determines how the association will serve its members. Here are a few important changes approved by the board. As we reviewed our policies, we focused on the goals of NCBA CLUSA as defined by our Articles of Incorporation, which the membership reaffirmed in 2019. And I quote, "NCBA CLUSA is an association of cooperatives, businesses owned and controlled by their users. The mission of NCBA CLUSA is to represent the unique and mutual needs of cooperatives, to strengthen and expand the cooperative form of business enterprise by meeting the movement and developmental needs of cooperatives worldwide, to give all types of cooperatives a forum to achieve common goals, and to link cooperative businesses in mutually beneficial relationships." In line with this statement, the NCBA CLUSA board has determined to reserve the voting rights exclusively for the co-op membership category beginning in fiscal year 2022. This means that starting February 1, 2022, only co-ops, entities controlled by cooperatives, and associations serving such organizations will be eligible to vote in future elections. Associate members and individual members will no longer have voting privileges, in keeping with our purpose as an association of cooperatives. Lifetime individual members will retain voting privileges consistent with the commitment originally made to these members. The work of the task force led us to a conversation of just what we mean by the term cooperative in the context of NCBA CLUSA membership. In many ways, this provided the board the opportunity to really deepen the cooperative identity of NCBA CLUSA by reflecting on the business model and its relationship to its members. We engaged Margaret Lund, a great friend of the cooperative community and former NCBA CLUSA board member, to interview a diverse set of leaders with deep expertise in cooperatives, as well as extensive research on the definition in the US and international context. The resulting paper is linked in the chat and will be featured in the next Cooperative Business Journal. The work informed the board's adoption of the definition of cooperatives to include only entities that are truly member-centric. That is, entities that operate on a cooperative basis, meaning they are member-owned, member-controlled, and benefit the members. This change not only clarifies what types of entities are eligible for the cooperative class of membership, it will also help us engage with other stakeholders and policymakers as we communicate the co-op distinction and advantage. Thank you for this opportunity to share the work of the Membership Growth Task Force and Governance Committee. Casey and I look forward to any questions at this time. And for the Q&A section, we welcome Doug O'Brien and Tamala Blaylock, our Vice President of Cooperative Relations, to join us.
Thank you, Carla. If anyone has a question, please drop them in the chat box, as we've been doing. And the co-chairs of the Membership Growth Task Force, Carla Dechter and KZ, are here. And as Carla mentioned, we also have our Vice President of Co-op Relations, Tamala Blaylock, and we're along. So we'll just wait a moment to see if anyone has any questions. And of course, we're happy to take questions today. Certainly anytime anyone has anything, any questions or comments or suggestions for our membership program, please do reach out to our membership team, Tamala Blaylock and Nina Sater, who's also part of the team and with us today. So we'll just wait a little bit longer. And I'm seeing none. So at this point, we'll hand the microphone back to our chair, Urban Kroll.
Great. Thanks so much, Doug. And I do just want to take one moment as chair to offer my great appreciation for Karen and Carla, and to all the members of our task force and the staff support in this process. This is such an important step for our association and our ability to expand our impact and achieve our vision. And as I mentioned in our address, the best way you can support this work is to help us grow our membership. And along those lines, I'd like to invite NCBA CLUSA's Vice President of Cooperative Relations, Tamala Blaylock, to share some information about how our members and our co-op community can get more engaged with the work of NCBA CLUSA. Tamala?
Thank you, Urban. In 2020, we were blessed with an abundance of engagements with our members through webinars, calls, focus groups at the Cooperative Impact Conference, and we have learned a lot in this extraordinary past year. And for this next year, we want to preview a few engagement opportunities for our members and our greater cooperative community. The first member engagement program I want to highlight is the membership scorecard that is designed to make it easier for members to participate in NCBA CLUSA events and programs. Launched in October of 2020, the membership scorecard is a cooperative member benefit designed to invite members to upcoming engagement opportunities that are happening in the next month, and to celebrate all the member engagement opportunities that they have participated in the month that just passed. This email is sent to our co-op member and the contacts we have for that organization every fourth Thursday of the month. Last month, we launched our new member webinar. We will broadcast a few of these webinars each year. These webinars are a co-op community benefit, and we welcome all in the co-op community to join us. You get the opportunity to meet the NCBA CLUSA staff and to ask our questions. The inaugural webinar was recorded last month in April and is available to view on our YouTube channel. So, #Member Mondays. Last month, a few months ago, January, we launched hashtag Member Mondays on our social media channels. All NCBA CLUSA members are eligible to submit their social media stories to have them amplified on our social media accounts. This has been a very popular member benefit, and we appreciate the fantastic stories that you have already provided. If you have a story to share, please contact the membership team to submit. And we have quite a few, so we may have to start posting a few Member Mondays on social media. Thanks to the board's great work to simplify our membership due structure, we want to continue to grow the NCBA CLUSA co-op membership community. A new member strategy that we have to achieve this goal includes the Umbrella Membership Pilot Program. This program focuses on co-op associations, including state and regional co-op associations, credit union leagues, and federated co-ops. These groups can work with staff to create a membership package designed for your internal co-op members to give them access to the entire NCBA CLUSA membership experience. If you are interested in discussing this pilot program further, please contact me or anyone on the membership staff. This month, our co-op members will begin to receive invitations to the co-op circle. This virtual platform is created in direct response to 2020 member surveys, where our members made it clear they have desire to connect and network more with each other. So more details on this program to come later on this month. Another preview of coming features for NCBA CLUSA membership includes volunteer groups. With all the focus on webinars and one-on-one conversations that we've been having, we notice that our members have had a lot to say both in 2020 and 2021, and we continue to welcome all that conversation. And we also recognize that there's an interest to have more engagement with NCBA CLUSA. Later this year, we plan to launch a few membership volunteer groups for these co-op members. The volunteer groups will be another platform to connect and network with members, and another added benefit for providing opportunity for leadership development and soft and hard skills building among your team members. Look forward to sharing more information about that later on this year. I know I've covered quite a bit of content in a short period of time. To discuss these membership engagement opportunities, you're welcome to contact me and a colleague, Nina Sater, from our membership team. Our contact information will be made available to you, and also our general membership at ncba.coop email has been posted in the Zoom chat. I will now turn this meeting back over to our board chair, Oben Crow.
Thanks so much, Tamala, for all this great work. And yes, that was a lot of information. I hope all of our members will take the opportunity to connect with you and the membership team for more information on how to get involved. Next, I'm very happy to introduce Alex Serrano, our Senior Vice President for International Programs, with a special update about NCBA CLUSA's international programs and how they're connected to our cooperative identity and our domestic work. So Alex, if you'd like to join us.
Thank you, Urban. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm pleased to be here to speak about our international development work this past year and how we have deepened the cooperative identity and empowered smallholder farmers and communities during the pandemic. I'll be joined later by my colleague, Camila Pinheiro, our Director of Cooperative Development, who will be presenting our very special work in Peru. Before starting, however, I would like to thank our board, our senior leadership team, and most importantly, all our staff, both here in the US and around the world, for their amazing job supporting our programs worldwide during this past year. Slide. 2020 was a challenging year for our work around the world. Frankly, it was a challenging year for all of us. For hundreds of millions of people, the COVID pandemic teared and continues to tear businesses, communities, and families. Almost every country where we work went into extended lockdowns. Many of them, particularly Peru, Ecuador, Indonesia, and the Dominican Republic, and more recently, Timor-Leste in Southeast Asia, were deeply affected by the pandemic. As everyone else, we had to adapt and adjust how we operated and manage our programs. Unable to travel, we moved to telework and adopted virtually technologies to keep on working. Sometimes we relocated project funds to support COVID mitigation activities. An example is our Farmer to Farmer program was authorized to have virtual assignments using US volunteers working with local volunteers. In other times, the US volunteers just fly down to Peru or Ecuador and do their job. All along, our biggest priority during this period has been keeping our staff and partners safe while continuing our work. Slide. Despite the pandemic challenges, in 2020, our 20 programs continued strong, providing services to over 1 million people in 17 countries, with benefits reaching more than 5 million men, women, and children. We extended services to about 5,000 member-owned organizations, including cooperatives, producer organizations, and civil society organizations. Slide. In 1994, with funding from U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, we helped to organize 450 small coffee farmers into a co-op called Cooperativa Café Timor, we call CCT. Today, CCT is the main exporter of high-quality coffee and agriculture sector employer in the country, with sales totaling over $10 million a year. CCT also runs a string of health clinics that provide services to its 26,700 smallholder farmer members, their families, and communities. Last year, our cacao project in Timor, which is funded by the New Zealand government, helped CCT to assess and mitigate against the pandemic and develop strict protocols as advised by government and industry experts. Despite the obstacles presented, CCT produced a higher than expected coffee volume and quality. With the advantage of committed staff and the early COVID operational protocols, CCT purchased almost 14,000 metric tons of red coffee sherry from its fair trade and organically certified member farmers. They ensured the harvest by providing direct monetary support to its members through the production season. The coffee was processed in country and exported to Canada, US, Australia, China, and New Zealand. Slide. Devastation caused by floods, drought, and cyclones in 2019 instantly wiped out harvests and left farmers without seed to resow in many parts of Mozambique. To mitigate this, an innovative partnership was launched in 2020 between USAID's Feed the Future Partnering for Innovation and NCBA CLUSA. In collaboration with a company, Mozambican company, Phoenix Seeds, and other insurance, the partnership addressed both the immediate and long-term recovery needs of Mozambican farmers by connecting them for the first time ever with commercially available improved crop seed varieties bundled with weather-based index insurance. NCBA CLUSA's PROMAC program, funded by the Norwegian government, continued to work with tens of thousands of small farmers, promoting climate-smart agriculture and linking them to markets. In face of the pandemic, we used drones and SMS support for crop monitoring and extension services. As a result of this work, we received USAID's Scale Creative Adaptation Award for being among the most creative innovations for delivering aid and programming in the face of COVID-19. Slide. In March of 2020, Senegal started to register its first cases of the COVID virus coming from France, and by later that month, the country declared a state of emergency. Our USAID flagship funded Feed the Future program, CALR, very early on played a leadership role in helping partner organizations, local governments, and communities to mitigate against COVID. We work closely with partners to prevent increased cases of infant malnutrition during the pandemic, to increase information sharing and adopt good behavior practices amongst the pandemic. We helped to install hand washing stations, disseminate information about the pandemic, and supported the production and dissemination of PPE equipment, benefiting tens of thousands of people in target areas. During the year, we continued to strengthen local food systems. Using our innovative agriculture for nutrition approach, our team extended services to 94,000 smallholder farmers and hundreds of member-owned organizations and businesses. We intensified investments in the production of nutritious products and linking producers, agro-entrepreneurs, and member-owned businesses to market. Slide. Throughout our USDA SAFE program in Dominican Republic, with focus on the dairy and beef industries, 4 years of hard work got us very close to the country obtaining its equivalence to be able to export beef to the US, which has been a long-term goal of the country. With our support, the country completed all the requirements of FSIS. USDA FSIS audit was scheduled for March of last year, but at the last minute was canceled due to COVID. We continue to support the government of DR and private sector stakeholders through the year and expect that USDA audit will take place this year. Our joint work with CRI, GenX, and Organic Valley continued during the year. Trainings and exchanges moved to virtual platforms. During the year, we invested in important infrastructure and helped to build about 200 milk parlors while continuing the capacity building efforts on productivity and quality. Despite the lockdowns and challenges in 2020, a recent evaluation of the program found a strong progress toward the equivalence audit. All stakeholders were optimistic that it will be achieved, but continued efforts are needed. The work done with livestock field schools and was a success. Increasing milk productivity and quality show that the model works. The evaluators also noted success in piloting a private extension model that is based at the association and co-op level. At this point, I would like to introduce my colleague, Camila Pinheiro. Camila, please join us. Camila is our Director of Cooperative Development. She's done a great job, she and her team and our team in Peru, and she's gonna be talking about fantastic work we're doing in Peru. So Camila, take it away.
Thanks, Alex, and hi, everyone. And I'm gonna ask JT, John, who's helping us. Okay, great. So I'm going to first thank you all and Alex for the opportunity to present about the work we are doing around capacity building on cooperative marketing in Peru. That's only a small part of the work we are doing under. Next, please. The project that we call CESE, which stands for Creating an Environment for Cooperative Expansion. And this project has three main activities to facilitate the improvement of legal and regulatory frameworks in all the countries we work, and to build the capacity of organizations that have the mandate to support cooperatives in their countries. No? The third activity is working directly with cooperatives, providing targeted technical assistance, which is mainly coaching, but also training and peer-to-peer learning. We are working in these 6 countries and with 60 cooperatives that we target. Some activities reach many more cooperatives. And these cooperatives have more than 100,000 members. And we also, the other activities I mentioned, we do with around 30 local partners. So today, next please, I'm gonna be talking about the work that we're doing with this great team that you can see in this picture. We have Oscar Inocente here with us today. He's our country director, and the other 6 people you can see are our coaches. Next, please. So we are gonna be talking about the work we do with 15 cooperatives in Peru. Of those 60 I mentioned, we work with globally. 15 of them are in Peru. They are in coffee and cacao and have around 10,000 members. 20% of them are women. And you can see other local partners we work with. Next, please. So the capacity building we do with co-ops in Peru focuses around these 6 topics or areas: governance, legal issues, financial planning, accounting and taxes, psychological support, which as you can imagine had great demand, especially after the pandemic started. But today I'm gonna be focusing on the work we do around marketing, which is helping cooperatives maintain and achieve certifications, brand development, digital presence, and member communication and engagement. Next, please. So this is to highlight that, of course, we are providing all these coaching sessions virtually, no? After the pandemic started. Next, please. So first we started, as I mentioned, with the digital catalogs and added more e-commerce. Some webinars we were doing, we call Cooperative Marketing Fridays. But as the pandemic got more acute, next please, we started doing, helping cooperatives. There was more interest in creating these fan pages and WhatsApp groups that allow cooperative members not just to present themselves to the outside world, but especially to communicate among themselves and among cooperatives, no? And the marketing school is one of the also activities that got a lot of demand, because this is an opportunity for cooperative members to be trained on different marketing skills. Next, please. So you can see some of the accomplishments in general is that we improve the communication among members in these difficult, very difficult times. As you know, Peru was one of the countries that was here hit the worst by the pandemic. And so it's very sad if you go to many of these fan pages, you see, condolences to cooperative members who pass or their family members who pass away. So very hard times, and these platforms to communicate really help them deal with this awful situation, no? And so the members really appreciate this. And so there were many like events, contests, social media content creation, also encouragement that made many members and their families engaged in these activities. And next, we also these fan pages and WhatsApp help, as you can imagine, disseminate important information on health, market production, and we started always from the cooperative identity. So it helped to strengthen the cooperative identity and promoted learning among cooperative members and across cooperatives. Next, and also something that a result of all this work has been the development of practical skills on all these areas related to marketing. Next, please. And of course, as you can imagine, developing these skills, allowing for communication, help raise the self-esteem and spirit of many co-op members and increase co-op member commitment, no? And what we call fidelity to their cooperatives. And lastly, these accomplishments also are around leadership development, because we started identifying leaders who can communicate, and so we help improve their communication skills. And also it was very useful in attracting youth and women and then becoming them more engaged with their co-ops. Next, please. So just one example of the work that around co-op marketing that is done is the Cooperative Marketing School. So this started in January due to the great demand on marketing capacity development by our partner cooperatives. And next, and so you can see that so far we have done 2 courses. The second one is just finishing. But there are many more being designed. And these 2 courses had around 30 classes that lasted between 4 and 5 hours, and they are followed by tutoring via WhatsApp. We had around 400 participants, 84% of them women, 98% of them youth. Very interesting. Next. And these classes are accompanied by webinars. Next. And they can be followed by the channels like Facebook and YouTube. So in total, we reach more than 5,500 people. Next, please. And I should have said in that picture before, you could see the USA mission chief who participated in one of the classes. So just one example is one student, she's Lisbeth in the picture, accountant at COCLA. And you can see some of the work she helped develop the branding and some card for women celebrating the Women's Day. Next, please. And some results of this cooperative marketing school are these pictures taken by students with their cell phones. Next. And some of this messaging developed via Canva, which is an app that helps develop this kind of graphics. So I'll end there, and if you have any questions in the chat, you can enter them, and Oscar is here to answer them too, and we'll do our best to answer any questions you have. Thank you so much for your attention. And back to Alex.
Thank you, Camila, very much for that. I'm not going to extend myself. I would just like to, again, thank everybody for this incredible work this past year. We are, as we look forward, really continuing to support our partner organizations as they recover. So that will be a major priority for us this year into next year, frankly. But without further ado, I pass this on to Urban. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Alex and Camila, and thanks to your entire team for all your work representing our community internationally, especially at this critical time, and for sharing the work of these partners with us. Our co-ops and credit unions are rooted locally, but our movement has always been international in its vision. And this work is a great example of the solidarity at the heart of our values and the connections between our domestic and international efforts to work together to build a better world for everyone. So I really appreciate your taking the time to share with us. Did we want to take a little time for questions and feedback for Alex and Camila?
If anyone does have a question, feel free to add it to the chat box. Okay. And as with, I think really everything on the agenda, we'd be happy to take up the topic right now. And we're always available for our members for a conversation, particularly really interested in if our domestic members are interested in our international work, including farm to farmer or other ways to engage. We are here anytime. So we'll just wait just a little bit to see if there's any questions. Otherwise, we'll move forward. I do want to thank the team, certainly in Peru and all over the globe, doing the work of NCBA CLUSA, the partners there. So, okay, all right. Well, thank you, Urban. Back to you.
Great, thank you again so much for that great report. So next on our agenda is our much anticipated board election results. I want to appreciate all of our candidates and everyone who took time to vote in this year's elections. Your participation is key to ensuring strong leadership on your board of directors and the success of our association, so thank you. And with that, I'd like to welcome the chair of our nominating committee, John Engelin, to present the results of the election. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. NCBA CLUSA members in good standing cast votes over the past couple of months to elect 5 candidates to the 2021 NCBA CLUSA Board of Directors. To all those members who voted, thank you. Your vote is so important. Your participation in this election helps us set the strategic vision for the organization and ensures that NCBA CLUSA remains a dynamic voice in the co-op space. So before announcing the results of the election, I first want to thank all of those who chose to step forward and run for the board. No matter the outcome, we deeply appreciate everyone's willingness to serve and their willingness to put themselves out and run for election. And now it's my pleasure to announce the results of the 2021 NCBA CLUSA Board of Directors election. The following candidates listed in alphabetical order have been elected to the NCBA CLUSA Board: Carla Decker, Kim Garmany, LaDonna Sanders Redmond, Michelle Schrei, and David Swanson. I also want to recognize others that were on this amazing slate. This was an incredibly strong ballot this year. And I want to recognize those candidates who stepped forward, were willing to run, but were not elected this year: Wafa Barati, Fred Gibbs, Gene Mattson, and Adam Trott. So on behalf of NCBA CLUSA and all our members, thank all of you again for participating in this election. So Mr. Chairman, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks so much, John. And yes, congratulations to our elected candidates. And as John said very well, I just want to thank again everyone who ran and were not elected, and encourage you to stay engaged, consider running again in the future as we continue to build our leadership and our association. Thank you, John. Thanks to the entire nominating committee. I do want to take a moment to just share some special appreciation for John Engelin, who will be stepping down from the board. Thank you for all your service and camaraderie on the board so much, John. And we want to wish you all the best in the future. You will be missed. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been a great honor, actually, to chair the nominations committee, and board service is so important in this organization, and it's been an honor for me personally to serve, and it's also been an honor for me to help others reach the board. So thanks to everyone.
Thank you again. Thank you again. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the formal portion of our annual meeting. Before we adjourn, I just want to ask if there is any other business to come before the membership.
Mr. Chairman.
Hearing none.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I did hear someone. Carla Decker has raised her hand.
Oh, Carla. Hey. Is this new business?
This is new business, brand new business. And this is specifically aimed at you, Urban. So on behalf of the board, the staff, and the membership at NCBA CLUSA, I want to recognize and thank you because you are nearing completion of your term as board chair. And your term has been one that has covered just extraordinarily challenging times. And really, we have benefited from your leadership. And so I wanted to highlight 3 areas in which we really have been really blessed to have you as our board chair. One, helping create the vision around the co-op's role in building a more inclusive economy and ensuring that we act on that vision. Navigating these historic months feature just so much economic and societal challenges. And lastly, really in just the willingness to share your expertise in and passionate commitment for living the cooperative identity. You set a really high bar for the rest of us to follow, but I think we are up to that challenge and motivated by your leadership. I personally have benefited from your collaborative and professional nature and truly from your friendship. So Urban, thank you so very much for your service and for your guidance. And we look forward to your continued contributions to the board and to all of us at NCBA CLUSA. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carla. I would like to be speechless. The only thing that I'll say, is I feel really fortunate to have served on the board at this time. It's such an extraordinary board, such extraordinary staff, and it has been such a challenging year. Having the opportunity to work with you all, to be supported by you all, to be challenged by you all, has been really valuable in terms of getting through this time and feeling like there was something positive we could all be doing together. So the feeling is extremely mutual, and I wouldn't have done this, wouldn't have taken on this challenge if it were not for some key directors, including yourself, who I knew would be great support and partners in this work. So thank you so much. I hesitate to ask if there's any other new business. Thank you again. I'm really moved and don't know what else to do with that at this moment. So I'll have to think about that. Hearing no other business, I'll say that we are adjourned, and I want to thank you all for joining us for our 105th annual meeting. But don't go yet. After we take a quick break, I want to invite you to join us for some networking opportunities. You know, our in-person gatherings are a big deal. They are such an important opportunity for us to get together. And I know being online on a screen is no replacement for the type of networking we get to do normally. But staff have put together some activities for us, some that may even be fun. And I think that we'll also see the premiere of a new resource, a Co-op 101 video that we'll show at the front end of that. John, do you want to share any information on the networking event before we go to a break?
Let's see. I think that folks should definitely stick around. As I'm writing this, I'm trying to actually find the spotlight button for myself so I can be seen by folks. But yes, please stick around. We're going to take maybe just 2 or 3 minutes as we try to move some things around. But please stick around, folks. We've got a great set of programming, a couple of different rooms that you'll be able to enter, win some prizes, lots of fun stuff. So thank you, Urban.
Great. So everyone should just stay linked, right?
Yes, stay right here.
Break. Join us at what time?
Let's see. Why don't we say I have 4:33 on my clock here. Let's say 4:35. Just a couple of minutes.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. Thank you, John. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you next time or in the next 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Don't go anywhere. Fun part's coming up.
Yeah, I don't think they know that we can see them leave.
Yeah, we're keeping track. Particularly those who are staying, we deeply appreciate it. It'll be really fun. I know, and staff and board have heard this. I so miss seeing everyone. We miss seeing everybody. And certainly we look forward to seeing as many people as possible in October, hopefully. But for this moment, we're looking forward to having a little bit of engagement with some fun and games and co-op history and NCBA CLUSA trivia. I don't know what could be trivial about NCBA CLUSA, but we'll find out in the next game. Great to see everybody.